Hello, everyone. This is Murtaza from Insta Accountant. Hope you're doing well. Um, so, in this video, we're gonna be talking about specifically about people who are doing DoorDash. Um, I know they're doing food deliveries, other deliveries. So we are gonna be talking about your taxes. How you're gonna be taking care of your taxes because the tax time is around the corner, right? Okay, so the first thing, if you're doing DoorDash, you are a self-employed, right? Um, a self-employed is very different from a person who is just employed, right? Um, so if you're doing a job full-time, part-time, you're employed, right? But at the same time, you can be self-employed as well. Like you're doing, DoorDash on the side, right? Or DoorDash is your main activity, doesn't matter. So if you're doing DoorDash, you are a self-employed, okay? That which means that you're not gonna get any T4 for your DoorDash income, right? At the year end. But for your jobs, you're gonna get a T4 slip from your employer. And the more important point is that if you're doing a job, you are getting some income tax deducted at source by your employer. But in this case, there's no tax deduction, which means that you have to take care of your taxes by yourself. There's no advanced deductions, right? So you might have to pay tax at the year end when you file after you file your taxes, right? Um, I have a detailed video on taxes for on the difference between employed and self-employed and how taxes work for both. You can watch that one, right? So we'll move on. Um, uh, One point a lot of people are confused about it most of the times. They think that if you're a self-employed, you have to and employed, like you're doing a job and also doing DoorDash. So that means that you have to file two tax returns. That is wrong. That's not correct. So you still have to, you will be filing one tax return, but this tax return will have your income will be coming from two streams. One is employment and the second one is self-employment, right? The employment one is pretty straightforward. You get a T4 slip, and the rest is quite simple. But the self-employment, it's a little bit complex, right? So for self-employed people, they have to attach statement of business and professional activities, which is T2125 form, in which they kind of provide details on their income and expenses. I have I already had there's a detailed video on how to on T2125 form and how to fill that form in detail. You can check that out um, on our channel. Um, the important thing is that, for example, you earn $100 doing DoorDash, and your expenses, let's say your expenses were $60. So $100 is not, you're not gonna be paying tax on $100, but you will be paying tax on 100 minus $60, which were your expenses, the $40. That's you're gonna be paying the amount on your net income. Tax on your net income. I'm sorry. Um, so that's important. Now, the first thing that I have to stress is that for those expenses are very important information. Okay, I will be talking about those in detail in a while. But before I do that, we will be talking about the income side. So in your tax return, again, it's the same tax return for if you're doing employment and also self-employed, right? So but in T2125 form you have to provide information about your income and also about your expenses, right? So in case of DoorDash, they don't send you any tax summary as Uber. If you were doing Uber Eats, they send you quite a good, nice detail of your um, yearly summary on your income and expenses related to Uber Eats. We have a detailed video on how taxes work for Uber Eats as well. You can watch that video if you're doing Uber Eats. So in case of DoorDash, um, like you have to do the most of the work yourself. Like just provide you your just an amount of your income during the income that you earn during the year doing those deliveries. But you can go into the app and add up all the delivery fees that you charge, and if you add up some of all of those, this is your total income, right? And also you have to add all the tips that you received. So tips are taxable income. A lot of people are say, oh, tips, they are not taxable, so you can just skip that and just whatever you earn for the deliveries, that's your income, but tips are not. No, both amounts are your income, and both have to be reported on your tax return. Just be very clear on that. The next thing is the so if you're doing DoorDash on your personal vehicle, most of the times, a very, very common scenario, right? You have your personal car, you're using that and doing DoorDash, right? So now we're going to be talking about the expenses. So you have So the concept is that you can deduct your expenses. You have to deduct your expenses against the income that you earned, right? So all the expenses that you incurred to earn some income, you have to deduct those expenses from that income, and then the resultant will be the amount which attracts tax. So, for example, you earned $100, $65 was your expenses for your gas, this and that. $35, 100 minus 65, 35 is the taxable income. So that means that expenses are very important. And if out of that $100, if you claimed $10 as expenses, then $90 you have to pay tax on. So again, expenses are very important. Okay. So that means that you have to keep good record of those expenses. You have to keep those expenses organized and do proper bookkeeping. This is very important for self-employed people, right? I cannot stress more on this point. So because this saves you taxes, you cannot remember all the expenses that you're making on the go, right? You do not remember you bought a charger or a charging cable during your DoorDash trip, right? Um, you have to keep receipts for those. You have to keep proof of those transactions because CRA wants to keep those receipts for 6 years. So, and we have developed an app for self-employed people. It's called Zoombooks. So it is for those kind of self-employed who are always on the go. So, for example, you purchase, if you bought gas for $25, you have the receipt. I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna throw it away or put it in the in a box or bag and then forget about it. You as soon as you get the receipt, you open Zoombooks, take the picture. That's it, and submit. So the app will uh, save the receipt digitally. Number one. Number two, the app will categorize the expense and do the bookkeeping for you. And you can always have those, use the app to know let's say, what was my expense for the week, for the month, for the day. You have that analytics. Almost 98%, 99% of self-employed people who are doing DoorDash, Uber Eats, Ubers, they don't know if their activity is profitable or not, because they are not keeping track of their expenses. You need to keep track of the expenses, and you have to save the receipts, right? So talking about the expenses, what kind of expenses you can claim? So the first expense is related to your car. So if now again, this is your personal car, you're using it for business. So you have to know what portion of the expense you can claim as your business expense. For example, you drove your car 100 miles during the year, right? And you find out that, okay, out of this 100 kilometers, I drove 87 kilometers for doing DoorDash, and the rest of the 13 kilometers for my personal use. So that means that, let's say, the gas expense for the whole year, you can claim 87% of that gas expense as your business expense, right? And the 13%, no, that's personal. You cannot claim that. Okay. So only the business portion of each expense. So car expense, gas, oil changes, car maintenance, repairs, insurance, supplies, windshield washer, wiper blades, this, that, all related to your car expenses, the business portion. Yes, you can claim those. You should claim those expenses, right? Um, Making those deliveries in the downtown, you don't find place to park your car. You buy parking for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, right? That is a business expense. Keep the receipt. Use Zoombooks for that. Keep the receipts, because that's CR is going to ask for that. And if you don't provide them the receipt, they're not going to accept that expense. Okay, so um, you can do that. Those parking expenses. All expenses related to your phone. You purchased a phone. You got phone repairs. You got phone accessories. You got phone cover, or you pay whatever you're paying for the phone plan, whatever you're paying for the data, extra data, all those expenses, the business portion of those are claimable. You should claim to save tax. There's no other way you can save tax. So you have to claim expenses. Again, keep the receipts, keep the invoices. The next one, do you have any other supplies, any bomb bag, thermal bags, any other kind of expenses, any accessories for the car? All those kind of expenses are claimable, are legit deductions. You have to make those deductions. Now, one more thing is that for all these expenses, if you want to claim them, you've got to keep the receipt. It's that simple, right? And if you're keeping your receipts, note down your expense somewhere, do the proper bookkeeping so that you know what's going on, how much you're making, what's the potential, how much time you're spending, and what's the return on that time, right? So again, I would recommend using the app we specially built for self-employed people like yourself. It's called Zoombooks, and it's gonna definitely help because it is helping a lot of our clients now, right? One more thing about HST. I get a lot of questions about this. So if you generally you do not have to register for HST or and file tax return, HST return, but if your income goes beyond $30,000, then you ought to register HST and start charging HST on your delivery fees. I have a detailed video I've already made a detailed video on HST, how it works for self-employed. You can watch it for details. Now, That's pretty much it. And any again, any expenses that you think that are related to your business, you should discuss those expenses with your accountant. So and let them know. And if the accountant thinks that this is a legit expense, they're gonna, yeah, get that deduction. And if if not, then they're gonna let you know, right? So, all right, guys. That's pretty much it for people who are doing DoorDash. If you have any questions or any comments, please write those in the comment boxes, and like this video if you like the information. All right, drive safe. Have a good day. Bye.